Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Tower of God Chapter 297, that's Season 2, Episode 217, and yeah, I thought this one was incredible. I thought it was really great in every part, except there's one nitpick that I'm not really very happy about, but I'll get to that at the very end really, because it's not even, I don't know, it's not that important, but it's something that I don't personally like. But going through the chapter and talking about it part by part, starting out at the very beginning, we pick up where we left off. Baum gets his arm bitten by Fenrir, and again, the art looks so good for this. That's one thing I'll say at the beginning, because I think it goes without saying really, the art was incredible. And I'll say certain parts where it was more incredible than it's usually incredible, but overall it was as incredible as usual. Baum gets bitten, and he tries to use a Shinsu Blast to knock Fenrir off of him, but the Shinsu Blast does not work. So his arm is actually pretty messed up, and Kaiser's like, I honestly thought that your arm would be screwed. I don't know how you're doing so well after getting your arm bitten by Fenrir. His teeth can pierce through rancor skin, so I thought he'd just tear your arm off. And Kun was surprised on the other end, like, holy crap, Kaiser is strong enough to have the wolf that can actually pierce through his Shinsu resistance. So I thought that was a pretty incredible way to talk about it as well. So Fenrir and Kaiser hype. We find out more about the actual way that the power of Fenrir works. And the actual way that it works is that he is a wolf spirit passed down from generation to generation within Kaiser's family, and that is the ability that granted her her ability is like she's a special sort of anima. She's not like a normal anima because she controls this one particular spirit passed down to her, and that was actually the power and her proficiency with it and everything that got her to be considered and selected to be a candidate as a Zahard princess. And the power that's on Fenrir is that his teeth have a spell on it so that any wounds that he inflicts can't be healed unless they're healed by Kaiser or unless Kaiser dies. So again, it's incredible because that means that Baum now has an effect on him, and the effect that it is that he is bleeding and cannot stop the blood loss. So now he's screwed. It's going to drain him over time. And we have a funny joke in there about Red Greymon being useless by Kun. But yeah, it's like he now has to dodge all these arrows and Fenrir, but he can't dodge forever anymore. He has to take chances and risks that against someone as smart as Kaiser, taking chances and risks like that is something he can't really afford to do. So it's incredible knowing that her defense is so great, and she has such a range of attacks with using all the arrows at a range and using Fenrir at a range, that her defense is so good, her offense is so good, that adding that onto him where he doesn't have time to think to beat the defense or offense, it's just it really screws her opponents, and that is why she hasn't been defeated for 1,000 years. I just think that power is so awesome. The second power that we have not yet seen, I don't know, it's going to make her even more badass, but just this power alone is more than enough for me to think that Kaiser is one of the most incredible characters that we've seen in Tower of God. I love this power so much. Or this, more than the power, the fighting style, really. Just the whole incredible defense that they can't bust through her defense, but they only have a limited amount of time to try to bust through it. So, and they're getting attacked at the same time. It's really awesome. And then we get another part where I thought the art was better than the amazing it usually was. Baum on the Blue War, flying through all of the arrows and dodging Fenrir's attacks, trying to use the Yuhan Sung triple dragon on Fenrir, and it not working, so he has to do a backflip over Fenrir. It all looks so good, and that in particular, I was like, this needs to be animated. I need the Kaiser and Baum fight animated. Just because that sequence of just seeing the arrows flying everywhere and him jutting in between them and flipping around Fenrir and stuff, it would look so good animated. But that aside, Baum finally comes to the conclusion that he's like, okay, no choice, I need to go on the attack. And that's where we cut away from him, and we spend the rest of the chapter with Ran and Inieta. So seeing Ran and Inieta again, Inieta won't tell Ran what Kaiser's second power is, and of course he wouldn't. We need to see it revealed in the actual fight. And Inieta's like, yo, is this pink-haired chick trying to sneak up on me and kill me? So really funny. Interesting seeing pink hair again finally. But Inieta tells Ran, he's like, I want to die in an honorable battle. So Ron's like, okay, sounds good to me. And he pops a second lightning pill. And again, this is the part that I don't really like, but I'll talk about it at the very end. So he uses that pill, and the art for Inieta standing up, again, better than the normal amazing. I loved the art. It felt so heavy, a bit somber, and it was just cool the way Inieta was smiling, walking towards his death. It was so cool. So then they go in for a final blow against each other, and it seems like Inieta dodges most of Ron's Gran Espada de la Luz, which that's the attack that I'm pretty sure that's the attack that he took Hess out with. That's like his big final attack, his strongest attack that he just developed. So it was interesting to see Inieta seem like he dodged most of it or tanked most of it, and he cut deep into Ron's side actually. Then after cutting deep into Ron's side, he goes falling out of the tube, and as he's falling, we get a flashback of Kaiser defeating him and then acknowledging his strength and offering one of the spots as one of the 10 bosses to him. So again, really cool to see how his family didn't care about him because he was from one of the branch families, even though he was so talented, and to see that Kaiser actually acknowledged that. So he falls from the pipe, smiling and thinking to himself, Kaiser, please don't die. So really, really cool. And again, I don't quite think he's dead. I'm not sure that he's going to be dead yet. I actually highly doubt he's going to be dead even. Because it seems like kind of a weird way to kill him off at this point. Something about it just don't feel right. I don't think Inieta's dead yet. But the problem I had, before I get into the problem, I'll say generally, because it was a general problem, generally Bomb versus Kaiser was completely amazing. I loved everything there. And the Ran versus Inieta stuff was great. I loved that. Also, I really thought the art, again, saying it again, was amazing. But then I think all that I've left on my my notes, my little bullet points, are the thing I didn't like. And yep, that's it. The thing I didn't like. Ran has already had a big fight this arc. He had the fight against Hess. We have a lot of other great characters. Why did we have Inieta taking down 3 really cool characters, Danwa, Yiwa, and Rak, especially Rak, and even to do a lot of it off screen? Why did we have that happen for Ran to defeat him when Ran has already had a nice big fight? And I feel like I'm almost starting to not like Ran because he's falling into what I call the Hitsugaya territory. The Hitsugaya territory was talking about Bleach. Hitsugaya was a huge fan favorite character, even though as a character he honestly wasn't that great. His powers were sort of just normal. He didn't have much personality. He was just cool looking and fans really liked him. Fangirls liked to fangirl over him. So then Kubo started writing him into the spotlight more and more and more just because he was a fan favorite character, not because he actually served any decent plot usage there. And that's where I feel like Ran is getting, where he's a really popular character with fans, so even though there are characters with way, way more personality, Ran barely has any personality, and way cooler powers, even though I think Ran's powers are awesome, even though there are characters that are great characters that we aren't seeing in the spotlight much, he's popular, so it feels like SIU is just tossing him into the spotlight more and more, and I'm starting to really not like him because of it. Because, I don't know, it's too much of him, and I think too it's dumb to have him be this strong, like obscenely strong, compared to other characters not getting to show that off as much. It's dumb to just have him. A character that takes risks like that needs to be punished for his risks every now and again, and I thought that's what we kind of got with Hess, where he went against Hess, but he bit off more than he could chew, so he had to overexert himself and almost ended up losing. That sort of made sense. Throwing this in there and having him take the chances, go in against an opponent who was arguably more powerful than him, arguably would have killed him without Dan and Jaja, and to go in against that person and to kill them when they have defeated 3 other important characters, and then survive is just pretty ridiculous. I think that it will help fix that situation if Inieta survives, and it's just like Inieta really hurt Ran really bad, and Ran really hurt Inieta really bad, but neither one of them really killed each other. Or if Ran dies, I doubt he will, because again, the whole fan favorite thing, plot armor, but if he dies, again, that will make it better, because that will show you can't just fly off the handle and go into a fight with somebody like that in the tower, or else you get killed. And that would, again, stick with what we've seen from the tower. Keep it with the darker theme and remove the whole idea of plot armor on the fan favorite characters. But having Inieta die and yet Ran survive, to me, is a terrible, terrible move, because it just shows that Ran can just run into a fight, pull out some mysterious miracle power, and be perfectly fine afterward. And I really love Tower of God, so I don't want to see it fall into that territory. But again, that is just something that, it's not a bad thing with the Ran vs. Inieta thing, because I loved Ran vs. Inieta. It's just something that isn't bad now, but I can see it getting a little bit worse, and eventually it will become something that's bad if it keeps going on. So yeah, I'm starting to not like Ran because of this. And yeah, other than that, like I said, getting back off the negatives, I thought that the Ran and Inieta fight was actually really great, and I loved the artwork. And I loved the way that Inieta faced it, you know. And then on the Bombing Kaiser side of things, I thought that was completely incredible. So, I mean, yeah, I loved the chapter more than just... I loved the chapter more than a lot of things. So yeah, overall, I think I'm going to give it... an 8 out of 10. 8, I always try to think of something and I haven't been very creative lately. 8, geez, I can't think of anything good this week, guys. Oh man, because nothing really stood out object-wise. 8 wolf backflips out of 10. I don't even know, guys. I don't know. I feel like I get less creative with those as time goes on sometimes. But either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Sorry I had to defer to my notes like maybe 2 or 3 times there, just to keep on track and remember what, because I keep it in bullet point format because I don't want to forget a little piece of the chapter or something that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, subscribe for more Tower of God and a bunch more. Follow on Twitter if you want, and I'll try to keep you updated there with stuff on the channel. So yeah, I think that's everything I normally say at the end of the videos. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.